Good Monday morning, YouTube! Happy New Year's! Cheers! Hi there, everybody. My name's Kyle. I'm the Geekin Dad, and in today's video, the first video of 2016, we're taking a look at one of the more commonly upgraded peripherals outside of the keyboard, and that is the gaming mouse. And in today's video, specifically, we're taking a look at the Corsair Sabre RGB. Now, this is the updated one with the 10,000 DPI optical sensor inside, with its 16.8 million color combinations, its 100 gram weight, and again, the 10,000 DPI optical sensor. So, with that being said, let's jump right on in. Gaming mice are hard to make different from one another these days. From DPI, RGB, CLOM, paw grip, A buttons or more, mice for gamers have grown into a hotly contested market with options for just about anybody at any price point. Looking at the packaging of the Corsair Sabre RGB, you can quickly see that this is definitely a more budget conscious mouse. And at $50, I would definitely consider this a budget conscious mouse. It has a flap to display to show off the mouse and what's inside while it's on the shelf at like fries, but once you open it, you'll realize that there's not a whole lot of fluff into it. Inside, we do find the mouse with a 1.8 meter braided cable that comes with an included Velcro cable management strap, if you will, and the warranty and quick start guide. Taking a physical tour of the mouse, you can definitely see that ergonomics here are geared more towards someone with a wider grip, which may or may not fit to your liking. It does have 8 buttons, all of which are programmable. The 2 buttons for the thumb feel nice and are defaulting to front and back respectively. The buttons on the left edge of the left click, if that makes sense, are actually right above one of our 4 RGB lighting zones, and those default to quick changes for our 5 available DPI settings that we can customize. The light that I mentioned, it is color coded to the different DPI settings associated, so you can know based off of the visual cue of what that light color is, what DPI setting you're currently using once you've kind of got that memorized and ingrained. The right and left click are definitely a nice feel, although they might feel a little soft to some people. And the entire mouse has this rubberized feel, although for $50 I don't think it's actually rubberized. I think it's just the plastic itself done in this way. After playing some Overwatch for a few hours though, I did notice that my hand and the mouse stayed relatively dry and free from sweat, which is pretty uncommon considering I have a very sweaty hand. Looking at the bottom of the mouse, we do see our sensor, that 10,000 DPI optical sensor, which is upgraded from its previous versions, which had 2 different options. We've got 4 mouse pad feet. You have great coverage and it glides really smoothly, especially like on my cloth mat surface. You'll also see the, once again mentioned, highly lauded 10,000 DPI sensor, and it does default at a polling rate of 1000 Hertz, but you can get down to 125 Hertz if you would like. The 3 RGB lighting zones on the mouse, aside from the DPI indicator LED, is the Corsair logo that is at the palm of the mouse, the scroll wheel, and what I would call, they call it the front zone, but I call it the headlights. Another interesting design detail to note is that while we are up front looking at the headlight, that the cable for the mouse comes out of the right click button and not dead center, which for me it worked out well because my PC and everything is to my right, and so my cables naturally go to the right. But if your computer's on the left, this might be a small nuisance, but that's up to you. Like I mentioned earlier, the cable itself is braided with plenty of flex and doesn't drag or snag on anything on my desk anyhow, and at 1.8 meters long, it's a reasonable length but could be a little longer. Jumping into the software itself, the Corsair Utility Engine, you can see that there's a lot of room for customization of the mouse. The option to create a macro, to map the mouse clicks to anything you'd like. The software side of the mouse gets the basics done well and what appears to be a really great piece of software. When looking at the lighting effects of the mouse, you will notice that there are only 3 zones that we have any real control over. And those are, again, the Corsair logo at the palm, the scroll wheel, and the front headlight. From here, you can set them to a basic assortment of effects with Corsair's 16.8 million color combinations. And in my experience, the color accuracy is pretty okay, nothing spectacular. The only way to change the fourth lighting zone, which is the one dedicated for the DPI visual indication, is to change it in the DPI setting itself that's being used, but it will stay a solid color. Finally, the addition of being able to turn on angle snapping and enhanced pointer precision is there, although I found that I don't have a need for them, and the idea of taking what's already a really great sensor on this mouse in my experience and trying to make any software adjustments to it just doesn't seem to make much sense. Playing Overwatch, which is my game of choice these days, the mouse felt great. It was responsive and it was snappy. The one complaint that I did have though is the weight. It felt really light compared to like the Corsair M65, which I have, or my old Razer Mamba, which was the 2012 edition. It was great. I left it at the default DPI of 1500 and really enjoyed the responsive feeling, and at times was able to take advantage of the DPI switching on the fly in-game depending on what character I was playing. I found that to be really handy, and I did get to learn the different colors pretty quickly, but also the feel of them is pretty different, so I was able to make the switch. If you're looking for a budget gaming mouse, this might be the mouse for you. At $50, it's a great mouse with a great sensor, enough buttons for even some casual MMO players, and it feels nice on the hands. The one thing that I personally didn't like about it, actually there's two. The ergonomics of it I wasn't a fan of, with the ergonomic design of the right edge of the mouse. The extra little bit I didn't find comfortable for like your pinky and ring finger, and then also the weight was just too light for my liking. So for me, the mouse hits a weird spot in that it's a great price and a great mouse, but because of those two things, the weight and the ergonomic design, I actually think I'm going to take this back to Fry's and look at something else. I was originally considering picking up the Corsair Harpoon, but knowing that that is an even lighter mouse, and even though it is only $30, based off of my dislike of how light this was, I'm probably not going to like that. So, if you have any suggestions for mice that are $50 or less, let me know. I'd love to see down in the comments below what that might be. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and hit that like button. If you think what I'm doing is garbage, let me know as well. I'm always looking for improvement, and if I've earned it, I would love a subscription. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday where we got some major upgrades coming our way. Until next time, geek on.